guy is? You ever met this guy before? This guy's Evan. Better friend. I like the basket. Funny how like you didn't even think about that part. Like you have some nice shoe there. So this is Owen right here. He's dead. Right here. You guys are 40 or more. Well, it's a pretty nice day, I gotta say. It's like the first like really nice So gotta go in there, right? You know, my well, they said they were going to give us
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to a beautiful day, a celebration of life. This isn't quite the order of service, but it seems appropriate for me to welcome everybody. This is the Ardmore United Methodist Church, where I'm the pastor, but today we gather not just as a church community, but to celebrate a life well lived by beautiful and beloved Renee, who passed away last week. So thank you so much for coming. We're going to begin our celebration of life with a good friend named Tom Lloyd, who's going to sing a song by Sting. Generally, it's made popular by Sting, but he's going to sing it called Fields of Gold.
Good morning, everyone. I'm a member of Tim's men's group. So give a shout out to the guys who are out there You'll remember me when the west wind moves upon the fields of barley. You'll forget the sun in his jealous sky as we walk in fields of gold. So she took her love for to gaze a while upon the fields of barley. In his arms she fell as her hair came down among the fields of gold. Will you stay with me? Will you be my love among the fields of barley? We'll forget the sun in his jealous sky as we lie in fields of gold. See the west wind move like a lover so upon the fields of barley. Feel her body rise when you kiss her mouth among the fields of gold. I never made promises lightly, but there have been some that I've broken. But I swear in the days still left, we'll walk in fields of gold. We'll walk in fields of gold. Many years have passed since those summer days among the fields of barley. See the children run as the sun goes down among the fields of gold. You'll remember me when the west wind moves upon the fields of barley. You can tell the sun in his jealous sky when we walked in fields of gold. When we walked in fields of gold. When we walk in fields of gold.
Tom, that was absolutely lovely. My name is Wendy Bellis, and Tim and I are cousins. We started seminary together, we've been in ministry together, and we've raised our children together. And this morning I was with my newborn granddaughter for a couple of hours, and as I was holding her, I was thinking how pleased Renee would be if that baby could be here. And she just lit up with babies. And what a wonderful way to remember her. You know, you will remember Renee in your context, because she was, she colored outside of the lines. She lived abundantly and joyfully and freely. And so let your mind just trip over all the memories. Let them flood your soul and your heart and even bring some tears and hopefully some smiles and laughter today as we take this time in this service to remember her. I'm going to share the words of a song this morning too. I am not going to sing them, but share them. The title of this song is I Was There to Hear Your Warning Cry. I was there to hear your warning cry. I was there when you were old. I rejoice the day you were baptized to see your life unfold. I was there when you were but a child, with a faith to suit you well. In a blaze of light, you wandered off to find where demons dwell. When you heard the wonder of the word, I was there to cheer you on. You were raised to praise the living Lord to whom you now belong. If you find someone to share your time and you join your hearts as one, I'll be there to make your verse rhyme from dusk to rising sun. In the middle ages of your life, not too old, no longer young, I'll be there to guide you through the night, complete what I've begun. When evening gently closes in and you shut your weary eyes, I'll be there as I have always been, with just one more surprise. I was there to hear your warning cry. I was there when you were old. I rejoiced the day you were baptized to see your life unfold. Will you pray with me? God of all glory, God of eternity, God of life, God of in our birthing and even in our dying, we rejoice because you were with Renee and you claimed her as your daughter and you walked with her, you lived life fully with her, you gave her so many joys and victories, and you gave her ways to make this world better. We are all here because you gifted this world with her life. And now as we return her into your arms of mercy and grace and eternity, we continue to rejoice because she loved us and we loved her. And now she is living, continuing to live fully, joyfully, freely, outside of the lines with lots of color. May her eyes continue to twinkle and may her light continue to shine in you. Amen.
Hi everyone, I'm Tony, and I'm Wendy's daughter. I don't have the perfect words for everyone today, but what I do have is experience, shared experience. Aunt Renee, or Renee, was like an aunt to me, although technically I guess she was in many ways. But growing up, she would bring her kids, Colin, Elise, and Ian, over to the Northeast, and we would play together. And we would go to her house too. And what I can remember, as I imagine everyone here can recall in their interactions with Renee, is the experience that you feel in being in her presence. Not so much the words is what comes up for me as the experience I have of remembering her contagious laugh. I didn't see Renee for a while. We would go with family for Easter, and then she would be visiting her mom, and I saw her again later on in adulthood at my sister's wedding. And immediately, as soon as I heard the laughter, it was like it brought me back to my childhood, where she has this passion, this power that she can share with you through the experience, through the relationship and the energy that is so hard to put words to, but is simply unforgettable. And I think the testament here is all of you gathering here today, that likely you've had this experience where you got to enjoy and engage with and feel supported by Renee's powerful positivity. Even as a kid, she had this nurturing towards me, where she had this power, but it was so loving and gentle and kind. It wasn't like a power over, it was like a standing in her own power, knowing her purpose and sharing her love with the world. And that I can never forget. That I'm always grateful for. And that I see when I see Colin, Elise, and Ian, and the memories that we have, and even the photos that we have in our photo album to share in remembrance of how beautiful she is and how beautiful her soul always will be.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm Wayne. I'm the Director of Christian Education here. I actually had Renee as an educator when I was in high school. And, I'm going to sing a song here that Renee used to sing to her kids. And it's called This Pretty Planet, and it's by Harry Taylor. This pretty planet, spinning through space, your garden, your harbor, your holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around, all through the night. Safe till the morning light, this pretty planet, spinning through space, your garden, your harbor, your holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around, all the night. Safe till the morning light, this pretty planet, spinning through space, your garden, your harbor, your holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around, all the night. Safe till the morning light, all the night. Safe till the morning light.
Thank you again for coming. Can everybody hear back there? Oh, good. All right, good. We want everybody to be able to hear. Renee was one who took hearing very seriously because she was a teacher of the deaf. And she knows what a gift it is. So we're grateful to Teresa here to my right, who is able to interpret the service for today for those who are hard of hearing or deaf. And we want to be inclusive and welcoming to all. And this is the way that our wedding was in Enfield, Connecticut about almost 35 years ago, 34 years ago. It was October 11th, so we're coming on our anniversary. And some of you who are out here today were at our wedding. And it was a beautiful occasion. It was a special day because we celebrated our love and our union, and we went on our honeymoon to Cancun. And then when we came back, we lived our life together in a place called Trainer, Pennsylvania, which was my very first full-time parish. At the time, then Renee got a job at this place called the Stirk School for the Hearing Impaired, which is now called the Delaware School for the Deaf. And she was an interpreter teacher there, and she met some of the people that are here today, her students. Wayne was one of her students when she was a teacher at Haverford High School. And then others, Sherry and others, are here today who were her students at Stirk. And so she touched many lives in her educational settings. After about 6 years, we moved from Trainer to Havertown, where we lived for 22 years. And so she left Stirk then and worked for a little time at Haverford High School, and then also at the Delaware County Intermediate Unit for a long, long time. She was an itinerant teacher. And so the outpouring of love from the IU, as it's called, has been really wonderful. In fact, one of the teachers, her friend named Vicki, is going to be speaking in a little bit. That can tell us more about the impact she had on so many students, family, children, professionals, colleagues, and friends. And it's been a very beautiful outpouring of love. So while we were in Havertown, we had 3 children, Colin, Elise, and Ian. And then since Colin has 2 kids, Owen and Aaron, at the end of the service, Owen and Aaron are the ones that are going to be releasing butterflies. We have them in very elegant containers that say Johnson's Popcorn. So anybody who's ever been to Ocean City, New Jersey, knows about Johnson's Popcorn. But now they have another usage today, and I think it will be a beautiful setting free, just like Renee's spirit. So we lived for 22 years in Havertown, and then we moved to Wynwood, and I became the pastor here at Ardmore United Methodist Church. So we've been here for now in my 10th year, and we've grown to love this community. Many church friends and family are here today. Thank you for coming. There's so many colleagues and friends that it's hard to really express my gratitude to all of you. But today is about Renee and the love that she had. She grew up in Connecticut. Her mother's here and her sister's here, Mother Joan and Sister Kathy. I put originally in the bulletin Kathleen. She said, no, it's not Kathleen, it's Kathy. So get to know Kathy after the service. And thank you to her cousin Chuck and Joe for coming down from Rhode Island too, and being here with us today. So Renee was my spouse, but she was many things to many people. She embodied a quote that I like that maybe you've heard. I honestly maybe have used this at other times, but it really fits Renee, I think, which is from Winston Churchill, which is this: we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. And so when I think about that, I think about Renee, about what she gave. Like, she had a job. She had a job really through almost her whole adult life, different kind of professional things. I mean, she had a bachelor's in special ed and a master's of deaf ed. So her kind of specialty was multi-handicapped hearing impaired. And that was the focus of her professional life. And it was a very full, rich, important life for her. But what she gave, not just at her job, but in our family, extended family, the community, all these different volunteer places that she was part of, is what she gave that made her life. And so we gather to celebrate a life well lived, is what I would say. How much she gave, how much she cared, how much she shared in the face of challenge or hardship, or sometimes mindless bureaucracy is what it seemed like. Other setbacks, she persisted and continued to give. She made a life by doing small things in a loving and big way. She loved nature. And so when we were thinking about the celebration today, obviously because of COVID, we needed to have a way to do it safely and for many people to gather. We didn't want to just limit it to 25 people that could fit into the sanctuary, for example. So it made it a little bit more complicated to be outside here, but it really was so perfect really for Renee, because she was a lover of nature and she loved butterflies. So one of the things that we have as our place to give memorial gifts was is to the memorial, or to the butterfly garden at Cape May and the Butterfly Research Center. she would go down there with us as a family, especially with Owen and Aaron. I know they remember that quite well. So it's good to be outside, and we were really blessed with a beautiful day. So we're very thankful for that. So the life story that you can read about Renee is in the bulletin. And if you didn't get one, there probably is extras at that table over there or one over here. So get one when you leave so you can see this and read it all about Renee and all the things that she did. She loved to travel, and that would be as herself or with all of us as a family, or with she and I. So she loved to go back to New England, her roots. So almost every fall she would go up there and see the leaves and visit Kathy and her other friend Kathy, and probably Chuck and Joe and her friend Carolyn up there, and just so many places that helped her to feel connected to her roots. Then she would also go to see her mother in South Carolina. So she wouldn't hesitate to jump in the car and drive 10, 12 hours to see her mom, and then drive all the way back. She went down there a couple of years ago when there was a bad hurricane. She drove all the way down, picked up her mother, and drove all the way back in one 24-hour stretch. So she didn't mind driving. She was really amazing that way. She and I got to do a lot of traveling ourselves after our kids kind of got older and moved out. And we went last year to England and to Ireland. It was a beautiful trip. We went other places like to Iceland and saw the Northern Lights. We went out west to Yellowstone National Park and to San Francisco, and just so many places that it really has been a joy to be her traveling companion and friend, lover, and spouse. As a family growing up, the song that Wayne sang was one that we would put a cassette tape in our old Mitsubishi van. So this is going back into the 80s with cassettes and all that, but it was a Tom Chapin CD, and we listened to that song and many others. We listened to books on tape, and traveled many places around the country trying to broaden their minds, our own spirits, and it was just a wonderful time to be family. So Renee was a traveler. That was a major thing about her. She loved to explore and be part of the world. She was a volunteer. So I listed some of the things that she loved to do, the places, the organizations that she was part of, the Jane Austen Society, lots of different cons or conferences, All Souls Con, or even New York Comic Con or Dragon Con in Atlanta, which was a little crazy. I never did any of those things. She did those on her own or with Ian. But she loved those things, and that was really fully Renee. Not quite orthodox as a pastor's wife, but yeah. So pastor spouses, you know, you get to do whatever you want to do. That's what I'd say, and that's what Renee said. Yeah, that's right. From the time we got married, she didn't conform to what I think the expectations of a pastor's wife is supposed to be. And one of the things was music that she loved. So, you know, she always liked one of the hymns that is often played and sung at funerals is called "Abide with Me." So preachers, you know that song, right? And it's usually done by an organ. So she's like, do not play that song. So, so today, there's no heavy organ and hymns like that. It's music that touches, hopefully, the soul. It certainly touches our soul. And thank you to all the musicians who are playing and singing, to everybody who's giving a word, a testimony, a thought, a share. It really is beautiful. But Renee loved music, like serious rock music. So one of the songs that she really loved is called Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. And so I don't know how many of you know that song, but it didn't seem quite right for a memorial service. But you know what? We were going to play it. I think it got lost in the set list, but that's the kind of music she liked. But she also liked really modern stuff, very avant-garde, very alternative. She has so many CDs and downloads and other kinds of ways to listen to music. She was just amazing in that way. And I always sort of admire that, even if I never listened to all the music that she played. So she was a lover of life, a wife, daughter, sister, relative, mother, grandmother. And it was a beautiful life together. One of our first dates, speaking of music, was shortly after we met. She said, if you could get tickets to Live Aid in Philadelphia, I was still living at Trainer at that time, which is just south of Philly. She said, if you could get tickets for Live Aid, that would be fantastic. I'd come up there and we could go together. So sure enough, I got tickets to Live Aid. This was in 1985, I think it was. And there was a giant JFK Stadium, and there was like 100,000 people there. It was a hot, sweltering day. But every kind of band that you could imagine back in that era played. It was just an awesome thing. And that was just the start of our life together. I think one of the things that I'll always remember about Renee is her sparkling blue eyes, her infectious laugh, her, as Wendy said, coloring outside the lines. Maybe others would sort of say the same thing about Renee. She didn't just live into the narrow expectations of what others wanted. She did what she thought was right and good and from her heart. And is there any better way to live? I don't think so. So I hope and trust that for those who knew her, that you'll be inspired to live your lives in a better, fuller, richer, deeper way because of the love that you saw in and through Renee. For all those who maybe didn't know Renee, but you've come because of your friendship to any of us in our family, perhaps members of my church, this church, or other churches. You know, there's a lot of reasons to gather as a community, and so I'm just thankful for that and trust that this day will be a blessing and joy and will help you to live a better, fuller life. And that's what Renee would want. So I'm going to end with just a final word. Thank you to our bishop, Bishop Peggy Johnson, for coming today. She's the Episcopal leader of our Eastern Pennsylvania area and Delaware, Peninsula Delaware. And it's a real honor to have our bishop today to speak and to preach, give a good word, and a sense of a blessing and almost an internment, if you will. But Bishop Peggy has been a joy to be our bishop, many other ministers here. And so a special thank you to you. Thank you to all those who are speaking and playing. You have made this day so much more meaningful. I want to end with a little poem that one of our favorite movies is now kind of an old movie, but it's called 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Anybody remember that? Yeah. And in it, there was a deaf guy. And so the main character was the brother of the deaf man. And they would, do sign language together, and they would have their own communication. Nobody else knew what they were saying, which is kind of probably inappropriate for sign language in the deaf community. But in any case, one of the funerals was for one of the very joyous people that died. And I think it was his partner, maybe lover, that said this poem by H.W. Auden. So I'm going to amend it slightly because I think it's perfect. This is about Renee. and my relationship with her. She was my north, my south, my east, my west, my working week and Sunday rest, my noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever, but I was wrong. Good night, my sweet Renee, my beloved Renee. I'll love you forever.
Every winter when it snowed, my Aunt Renee would take off her shoes and put her bare feet in the snow. She did this wherever she went, even in Icelandic glacier water. She taught me that adventures can be big or little. They can be anywhere that your feet can take you, or anywhere that your mind would travel. My Aunt Renee loved books. She loved reading and stories and the adventures that books inspired. She introduced me to countless books that I've loved, including one of the very first historical romance novels that I ever read. Got me hooked on the genre. It was about a time-traveling knight, and it was the perfect book for me from her. It still sits on my bookshelf to this day. One of the authors my Aunt Renee really loved was Jane Austen. Uncle Tim mentioned she was a member of the Jane Austen Society. And we often talked about the Jane Austen conferences that she went to, the Regency fashion, the humor, and of course, what actor played Mr. Darcy best. If you have to ask, it's Colin Firth in the BBC TV series. There are many moments in Jane Austen books that make me think of Aunt Renee. Take these quotes from Northanger Abbey. But for my own part, if a book is well written, I always find it too short. Or this, it is only a novel, or in short, only some work in which the greatest powers of the mind are displayed, in which the most thorough knowledge of human nature, the happiest delineation of its varieties, the liveliest diffusions of wit and humor are conveyed to the world in the best chosen language. Aunt Renee loved so much and so freely. She made everyone feel like their interests were her interests. Because they were. She loved so many different things. She was always doing what she loved, and I know she could relate to this line in Mansfield Park. Nothing ever fatigues me but doing what I do not like. A more recent book series that Aunt Renee loved was the All Souls trilogy by Deborah Harkness, and I really wanted to share this one line from the first book of the trilogy. Happiness is always louder than sadness. Aunt Renee lived this, because her happiness was loud and infectious. Her laugh filled rooms, it filled houses. Our family gatherings never went by without the sound of her laugh. Sometimes I think I laugh too loud and I worry that I embarrass people, but I'm gonna try to be more like my Aunt Renee. Laugh often, loudly, and fully with joy. I know today she would want us to be loud with happiness, remembering her. As I thought about what I wanted to say today, I turned to the books Aunt Renee loved to help me find my voice and to help me find her voice. During that research, I came across one more quote I'd like to leave you with. It gave me some comfort, and I hope it does the same for you. It's from Christopher Robin to Winnie the Pooh. If ever there is tomorrow when we're not together, there is something you must always remember. You are braver than you believe. You are stronger than you believe. You are smarter than you think. But the most important thing is, Even if we're apart, I'll always be with you. Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Vicki Lewis, and I am Renee's coworker. But most importantly, I'm Renee's friend, and she was my friend for the last 16 or more years. I had the pleasure to work with Renee and be friends with her at the DCIU. As Tim mentioned, Renee had 2 stints with the DCIU. She didn't get enough punishment the first time that she was there with us. She worked with the DCIU in the mid-80s to early 90s as a teacher for the deaf and hearing department. And then she left us and went to Haverford for a little while. And when she came back, thank goodness, she joined early intervention. And when she joined us, she did it only part-time. However, when you are a part-time teacher, you are still working full-time, and Tim can attest to that. She spent hours and hours at home doing her work, coming up with countless activities and programs to support her children. The one thing that I really remember is when I started in 2004, she was probably the first itinerant teacher that I really became friends with. And it's because of her personality. What everybody has referred to today is her joyous and heartwarming spirit. She just lit up the room. In the back, which you guys up here can't see, are, I don't even know how many of us from the IU that are here today. And everyone has said the same thing. When she would walk down the hall, you knew she was there. Either you heard her laugh, and you heard her coming, or you heard someone going, Renee, Renee's here, Renee's here. And everybody just wanted to talk to her. Everybody wanted to know, what are you doing now? Where did you go? When was the last time you put your feet in the sand? When will you be going and putting your feet in the sand? And she wanted to know, what are you doing? How is your family? How are you holding up? What's happening with you? And eventually, it got back to the kids. But first, it was all about you. It's all about how are you? And that's what made Renee such a good, warm-hearted, caring person, because she thought of others first and herself second. Her family was very important to her, and everyone knew about her children, everyone knew about her grandkids, and all the adventures that they went on together. I was so fortunate that when we would go on DCIU breaks, I often got texts from her for all the Comic-Cons that she went to, the Dragon Cons, and when she went down to Atlanta, get the pictures of the blow-up dinosaurs and the other things that she would go chase. She would have to explain some of them to me because I, like you, Tim, I haven't done it. I don't quite get it. But she had fun with the end. She had fun going and doing it. And it was infectious when she would tell you about it. The other thing that she did on her breaks was that she was always thinking about her kids. Along with those texts, I would get texts of, Vicki, wait till you see what I found. I found this book, and we can use it with these kids, or I'm going to use it, and then how about if you use it in your social skills group? Or you know what else we can do with this? And this toy that I found, and we can do this, and we can do that. I went to the Eric Carle Museum. I need to back the car up and open up the trunk. I'm just taking it all home. Now, Tim, there's a lot for you to go through, I know. Because she backed the car up every time that she went. And she used all those things. But she also took the time to figure out, how can I make activities and things exciting for my kids? One of my most
favorite stories of her recently was last year she had a student who was really struggling, really could not make that social connection. And we had talked about ways to try and help. And she said, you know what, I'm going to create really cool centers for her, make her the center of the activity. This way the kids will want to come over. And if the kids come over, then they will find this student interesting. And then maybe that student will learn how to say hi and take turns and want to play with them. And she did. She made probably 10 different play centers, you know, like coffee shop and different things like that. She made all the materials. She took all the time to do that. She left those centers with the preschool each week so they could work and practice. She worked with those teachers so that they could learn how to use those strategies based on the ideas that the teachers had incorporated. It was amazing. Within a short time, the child started to respond to the peers. And a couple weeks later, the student was even initiating with those peers, leaps and bounds, just by putting in all that effort, leaps and bounds for students and her families because of how she cared. The most important thing that I would like to say to you, Tim, and your family today is that I have so many wonderful memories and they all fill my heart with happiness. But as you look around here today, it's really important that you know that the DCIU family is here to support you and to lead you through this time. Everyone thought the world of Renee. Everyone enjoyed her so much. We all enjoyed her spirit, her laughter, her joy. We all wanted to talk to her and be with her. We carry her joyfulness, her love of life and family, and her joy for teaching with us. I thank you for sharing her with us. I'm a better person and a better teacher for having known her and for having worked with her. Thank you. Good morning. I'm Linda, longtime friend, young mother, former wife of a United Methodist pastor. So we spent a lot of time and travel and hours in the van with Harry Chapin with our kids and joyous times in the Berkshires, just various road trips to get the kids up. And spent a lot of good time together. So I'm very honored to be asked to play the Carol King song, You've Got a Friend. I am not a vocal soloist, I am an accompanist. That means y'all are the choir today. So I know it's not fun for the normally shout, sing, and dance in United Methodist, such as myself, to not be supposed to be singing. But I'd ask that you, those of you who know these words, hum them along. Think about the words and how meaningful they are. To know that Renee would be smiling to hear us singing them, and she meant them for all of us. Just a moment with the tape here. It is beautiful to be outside, yes.
Thanks for coming today. I'm Renee's oldest son, Colin. I'm also the father of Owen and Erin, her oldest two grandchildren. If I had to pick one word to describe my mom, it would be kind. She had a kindness that seems impossible. When my kids were born, I was living about 2 hours away from my parents out in Lancaster. Near the end of 2013, I received a job opportunity that allowed me to relocate half hour or so from my parents. And of course, you all know my mom. She took full and complete advantage of this. I think there was a point where she came and picked up the kids every weekend to do fun things with them for several months straight. And this was also, I don't know, working 8 days a week with the IU and everything else. I'd have to wonder how she did it. Last summer, I calculated it. My kids spent 55 hours with 55 total days with my grandparents. At the time, I felt guilty. I felt I was over-relying on them to fill in the patchwork of summer childcare. But life is all about perspective. Sometimes life changes despite you. Every time my mom would drop off the boys, we'd get to talking. Sometimes she would stay for an hour, 2 hours, and we'd just be talking. We were watching each other change roles. But she was still my mom, too. When a loved one passes away, there are often stories that are told that many have not heard. When my grandmother, on my dad's side, passed away last year, there was a story that I heard. She loved to hear the birds. And she said that the birds sang just for her. At the time, I thought it was a beautiful story and kind of cute and funny. But in my mind, my mom's final days, me and the boys would drive down to see her, to soak in the limited time that we knew we had left with her. My boys tend to burst into the house, feet stomping, laughter filling every crevice. And my mom said, I love hearing them. And I realized that birds sing for her too.
Morning. My name is Chuck Hollis. I am a cousin of Renee and Kathy. And Kathy has asked me to read this on her behalf, but we'll get through this. It's called I'm Still Here. I know you think I left you, my voice you no longer hear. But close your eyes and see my face, and you'll always have me near. I'll always see your smile and share your happy days. I'll be there when you need me to help in secret ways. Remember when you're laughing, that I am laughing too. And when you feel sad and alone, I'm standing there by you. For in your heart, I'll always live, no matter the years that go by. I'm here for you, no matter what. My kind of love can't die. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you so much for coming today. It means so much that this is so different from stand-up. It means so much that all of our people came. And this today and being outside and seeing my family and my loved ones, it feels like this is the point of life. There's so many things I could say about my mom, so many stories and anecdotes and experiences and moments I could share. But you guys all know that she was so many different things to so many different people, and she fostered unique relationships with people. And so I'll just tell you a little slice of mine. I know everyone here has so many special experiences with her. Back in March, I was living in Brooklyn, and when COVID hit the city and my office shut down and my lease was about to end, I went to my parents' house indefinitely. And my mom was so happy to have me home. I thought moving back in with my parents as a 31-year-old was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And I was like stomping around the house, and I was like, life's not fair. And then a week or two later, she got diagnosed. And then I was like, okay. It was shocking. All of a sudden, I felt like I was in this world that I was unequipped for. And because of COVID, everything was weirder and harder and really isolating on a day-to-day basis. But we made it work. And we ate dinner together and through windows with family. And we watched Great British Bake Off. And I did impressions of my dad and made her laugh and made my dad laugh. And I think we nailed it. We did the best we could, and I think that that's what you do. Our communication deepened and our family all became stronger. I think when something happens to someone you love fiercely, you adjust and rise in ways you didn't know were possible. My mom always taught me about strong females in history, and in her final months, I saw her become a fierce warrior like Joan of Arc. And I saw my dad become a Joan of Arc too. I saw two people I considered weirdo parents my whole life give every drop of life and love that they had to each other. And I feel so lucky to be witness to that. My dad is really extraordinary. I watched my mom go to battle with this disease every single day and do every single thing she could until the doctor put her on hospice, and she never gave up. And witnessing her strength during this final battle will inspire me as I move through life. After my mom was diagnosed, she started doing 3 crossword puzzles a day to keep her brain sharp. And when she went on hospice, she eventually slipped into a state of mostly resting and sleeping. So we picked up the crossword puzzles where she left off. And we would do them in the room with her while she was lying there. And on one Sunday, there was a really hard puzzle that we couldn't crack. And me and my dad and my brother and grandma all took turns, because it's only cheating if you Google it. And there was one word in particular that none of us could get, but it was really imperative to finish. It was 18 across. The clue was in perpetuity, and we didn't even know what it meant. We were like, does it have to do with the will? Is that an amount of time? We just kept on spitballing and not getting anywhere. And at one point, my grandma called her sister and was like, do you know what that means? And she was like, no. So we were standing around in the room, and my dad came in, and we were like, Dad, do you know what this means? Like, and we heard this little noise, and my mom kind of rolled over and whispered, forever. And that was the word. And she's helped us solve the crossword puzzle, and it was her last crossword puzzle, and it was the last time she volunteered information to me as a mom, which was a huge part of who she was. I don't know if she did that to every other person here, but she did that to me. And I think that's what my mom is. Her love would be in perpetuity, forever. Thank you.
Shadows are falling, I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning, see that crazy sun. Keep me in your heart for a while. There's a train leaving lightly, caught when all is said and done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sometimes when you're doing simple things around the house, maybe you'll think of me and smile. You know I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while. Hold me in your thoughts, keep me in your dreams. Touch me as I come into view. When the dream calls, I'll be there and there. I'll be there right next to you. Engine driving's heading to north of Valley Stream. Keep me in your heart for a while. These wheels keep turning, but it's running out of steam. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Shadows are falling, I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. 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 Steve McLaughlin, I'm Lisa's soccer coach.
Good morning, friends. I greet you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, and I count it a high honor to be among you during this celebration of life and light. And I kind of feel like we've already had the sermon, but I'll give it my best shot. But certainly every word that's been said has been so meaningful, so comforting, so full of life. And I know that Renee is here with you. To hear the word of the Lord from the Song of Songs, chapter 2, verses 10 to 13. My beloved speaks and says to me, "Arise, my love, my beautiful one, and come away. For behold, the winter is past. The rain is over and gone. The flowers appear on the earth. The time of singing has come, and the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. The fig tree ripens its figs, and the vines are in blossom. They give forth fragrance. Arise, my love, my beautiful one, and come away." This is the word of the Lord. Song of Solomon, or the Song of Songs, is one of the scrolls found in the last section of the writings of the ancient Hebrew peoples. It is perhaps the most curious book in the Old Testament. It shows no interest whatsoever in the commandments of the law, nor does it teach wisdom per se. Instead, it celebrates human intimacy, the beauty of creation, and love and light. I'm old enough to remember when public schools allowed prayer and scripture reading. In 5th grade, my teacher, a former Roman Catholic nun, instructed the students to read a portion of the Bible aloud each morning after the Pledge of Allegiance. One morning, it was Earl Anderson's turn to read the Bible passage of his choice. Big mistake. He was the most rambunctious kid in the class who'd been in class with me since 1st grade. And it was curious, every year he was always right on the mountain. Okay. All right, we got it here. That was something important. Okay, so Earl was always the kid who had the desk closest to the teacher. Anyway, on that fateful morning, Earl read the most graphic portions of the Song of Solomon for his scripture reading, to the utter delight and amusement of the class and the dismay of the very straight-laced teacher. That ended the practice of morning scripture reading, as I recall. But what a shame that many, even ancient rabbis, pass over this book because of its celebration of intimacy and love. In modern Judaism, the Song of Songs is always read on the Sabbath during the Passover, which marks the beginning of the grain harvest and remembrance of the Exodus from Egypt. Some interpret this book as an allegory of God's love for the Israelite people, and later Christians interpret it to mean Christ's love for the church. But the jump to that conclusion can perhaps lead us to miss an important lens of love and beauty and joy and life. One ancient rabbi taught that of all the writings, they're all holy, but the Song of Songs is the holy of holies. And so it is. We stand here in the beauty of this gorgeous setting, kind of a holy of holies at Ardmore United Methodist Church, to celebrate the life of this person who personified this love and life and beauty and nature. We give thanks for Renee Marie Thomson-Hohl and her life well lived, her love of nature, her connectedness to so many people. We also lift our eyes to the promises of God, the promises of God that are forever sure. According to many I've talked to, and all of you earlier during this service, to know Renee was to know her love for the beauty of God's creation. She herself was a work of nature's beauty, with those sparkling blue eyes and her contagious laughter and that loving smile. No matter on a camping trip or to see the northern lights or to walk barefoot in the sand and the soil or the snow, she had a special connection with nature. Like the writer of the Song of Solomon, she reveled in the songs of the birds, the bluebird, the turtle dove, and the fragrant blossoms of the earth. So this is a sermon, so I'm going to give you a little what to do about this. You need to take from her life a takeaway, a legacy of celebrating the beauty and majesty of God's earth, God's sea and sky. But not only to enjoy the earth, but to care for it, so that all people might reap its benefits and delights down through the future. And that brings me to another important thing to say about Renee. She was all about people. It's pretty obvious. Most precious to her, of course, were you family members. Tim, the children, the grandchildren, the nieces, the nephews, the cousins, the family. She reveled in all of you. But she also extended her reach to the needs of people with disabilities. And as a special education teacher, especially those who work with deaf people, she was an educator with a fierce determination for inclusivity. Deaf people can often be left out of things. People were her joy, and justice for all people was her life's passion. And that's what she did. And so again, take from her life the legacy of celebrating and engaging in all of humanity, in all of your reach of care and concern. All people are precious in God's sight. Renee knew that, and if you celebrate her, you will do the same. Renee left too soon, and that's sad. Monday, after several months of battling cancer, the Lord said, "Arise, my love, my fair one. Come away." The winter of suffering is past for her. The rain is over and gone, and on that level, we can find comfort and relief. But this is not what you wanted. And we stand here with a sense of sadness and incredible personal loss for family and friends and community. See, the price of love includes a sure and certain deep sorrow. So take time to grieve well, remembering her life and living that legacy. Tell her stories. See her face in your children, looking for bluebirds and releasing butterflies of hope and joy in this world. Hold on to the promises of God that there is life after death. There is a place of love and joy and peace for Renee. It is a mystery, and we won't know the full story until we cross that river. But our faith teaches that our God is a God of the living, a God of love. And there's surely resurrection and another realm beyond this world for Renee and for you. Nature itself whispers this truth to us each spring as a sample, as an appetizer of all the things to come, both now and in the world beyond. I love that Easter hymn in the hymnal. I don't know if Renee ever sang it because she likes kind of alternate music. Since I'm preaching, I can put this in here. Okay. It's called "Now the Green Blade Rises." When our hearts are wintry, grieving, or in pain, Jesus' touch can call us back to life again. Fields of our hearts that like the dead have been, love has come again like wheat that springeth green. May you also arise and come away from this journey of grief with the comfort and strength of God in your hearts. And may love come again to you like wheat that springeth green. And may God bless you with the assurance of things not seen, but eternal in the heavens, and the sure and certain hope of life everlasting. Now I'd like to close this moment with a moment of committal. The ashes are here, and that's a beautiful teapot which has butterflies on it. How appropriate. In the midst of life, we are in death. From whom can we seek our help? Our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. God who raised Christ from the dead will give life to your mortal bodies also through his Spirit that dwells in you. The Apostle Paul said, "Behold, I tell you a mystery. We shall not all die, but we shall all be changed. This earthly shall become heavenly. This mortal shall become immortal. Then shall come to pass the saying, death is swallowed up into victory. O death, where is your victory? O death, where is your sting? Thanks be to God who gives us the victory through Jesus Christ our Lord." I just encourage you all to lift the hand and just extend it forward now as we commit to the good Lord, our friend, our loved one, Renee. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, with the sure and certain hope of resurrection. Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for those we love but see no more in this life. And we pray for our loved one, Renee, that you might receive her into your arms, that she might go from strength to strength in service of your kingdom. And be with those who remain here below, waiting for that day when you will all be together again. We pray this in your name. Amen. Amen.
I thought about a song to Renee, for Renee, but I thought this song would be better from Renee. And since she was so such a strong advocate for sign and for deaf, there's a part for you. There's a part in the song that says love, love, love. And if you could just sing with your hands. And when it comes to that part, I would love to see, and so would the sky, love to see all your loves shining out. The question is why? Why are we here? To say our hellos and goodbyes, then disappear. This beautiful life, what is it for? To learn how to master peace or master war. There's only one answer that matters. Even if your heart has been shattered, whatever you want, whatever you're after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer. Here we go. Love, 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 love. One more time. Love, 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 love. We all make mistakes. No, we're not perfect yet. Maybe God made us all from some accident. And the question is that sits on everyone's lips is why should we pick ourselves up and start over again? There's only one answer that matters. Even if your heart has been shattered, whatever you want, whatever you're still after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer. Love, 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 love. question I'll ask at the end of my day is what did I give and what will I take? There's only one answer that matters. Even if your heart and your dreams are shattered, whatever we want, whatever we are after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer. Maybe you can turn to your neighbor. Love, 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 love. Love,
Good morning, my friends. I am glad we're all here to celebrate Renee. Renee is my best friend, and I know she's many best friends. I know she's many people's best friends, as we've learned today, because she was everywhere and with everyone. And I mean that in the best of ways. I met Renee, I guess it was when, Elise and Colin, you were just, and Ian hadn't been born. And we were both nursing mothers counselors. And at one of the very first meetings, when I first met her, I heard Renee say, "My husband does the grocery shopping." And I said, "Really?" And she looked at me as if I were judging her. But I immediately said, "Bob does the grocery shopping too." We both really loved our husbands very deeply, and it wasn't just because they both did the grocery shopping. I learned that Renee loved her children, Colin, Elise, and Ian, her father, Helen and her mother, Joan, her sister, Kathy, and her brother, Michael. She used to share stories with me all the time about you. And I remember when you guys were really little and we would come over with my daughters, and your mom would have all these activities going all at the very same time. And she just kind of moved around the room like it was magic. And I would look at her and I'd say, I cannot believe how beautifully she does that. I know that we've all talked about Renee as a free spirit, but I remember she would just hop in her car and go up to New York to see Madeline L'Engle all by herself. And I'd be like, oh my goodness, how do you do that? Or she'd pop up to New England, and the way she always said it was New England. And my husband, Bob, would always, he would always tease her because Bob loved her so much. And Bob would never tease anybody unless he really, truly loved them and felt comfortable with them, because he was very shy. I know we've all talked about how she volunteered, and she gave to so many different things. I couldn't keep up with her. And I'm so happy she was with so many people because she gave that much. She was so good to my daughters. Unfortunately, Fiona's in San Diego, or she would be here physically with us. I enjoyed hearing the stories from her coworker, Vicki. I remember also, just brainstorming ideas where it was just like bing, bing, ping, ping, ping. It was always so much fun. And Andrea, when you described the reading and her love of books. You did such a beautiful job. It was such a great tribute to your aunt. And I know that in New England you say aunt, but you know, I'm from Western New York and we say aunt, which she also teased me about. She learned to read when she was only 3 years old. And I could just imagine like a miniature Renee Thomson-Hohl, well, she was just Thompson then, walking into the library, getting her book. She was just so special to me. And I am so happy she was my friend. I just wanted to read something my daughter Christabel wrote. It's very short because I know we've been here a while, but you know, Renee was that important. Christabel wrote, above all, I remember how loving, patient, and selfless she was. She was an amazing listener who always made me feel like what I had to say was important. She made me feel loved, appreciated, and she gave the best hugs. She really did. And I will truly miss her and her kind spirit. I know Aaron and Owen, I don't know you, but I'm telling you, she loved you. She talked about you all the time. And she loved all the special activities she did with you. And Ian and Colin, Elise, when I say she loved you guys, she really loved you. And she loved you, Tim. This is one of the most important things that I learned about your mom and your wife and your friend, was that she always enjoyed the present moment that I was with her. But one of the most important things I learned from her was that she did not speak ill of any of you. I learned about you because she shared her love for you. That's how I knew you. And I loved that about her, that she always rose above it. And I'm sure she did this in her lifetime, but around me, I never heard her swear. I really didn't. I will always remember her. And I am thankful she is my best friend. And I hope I can do this without crying. But she called me when she came home from hospice. And she said she had to say goodbye. And she said I could come and visit her. And then Tim called me and said I could come to the house. And I said to her, Renee, you are my best friend. And she said, Candace, you will always be my best friend. So I am always going to keep this in the present. Renee, you are my best friend. I'm going to close today with a prayer. And I want to give all of you here all of my love. And Tim and Colin and Elise and Ian and Aaron and Owen and Joan and Kathy. She talked about you guys all the time. I want you to know that my family, my daughters here, Christabel and Alicia and Fiona, we are here for you and we love you. Let me see if I can read this. This is a Native American prayer. I give you this one thought to keep. I am with you still. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not think of me as gone. I am with you still in each new dawn. I love you, Renee.
We're just going to have a little closing song, little ad lib, and then we're going to play the song by Coldplay called Fix You. And Owen and Aaron are going to come up and we're going to release these butterflies. And then we're going to conclude. And everyone is invited to go over that direction for some light refreshments. Thank you to Kim and Ruth and others from the church who provided these. They're all very individually wrapped and made safe, even in this COVID time. And again, just thank you for coming. It means the world to us. And hold us in your prayers if you can. We love you, Renee.
Try your best, but you don't succeed. When you get what you want, not what you need. When you feel so tired, but you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse. And tears come streaming down your face. When you lose something you can't replace. When you love someone that it goes to waste. Could it be worse? Lights will guide you home. I will guide you home. I will try. High up above or down below, when you're too loved to let it go. But if you never try, you'll never know just want you well. Nights when I you home, and even at your bones, I will try to fix you.
Excuse me, now running into here.